Moral reasoning of teenagers in the face of dilemmas. Adolescent age is the period of a tempestuous development of the personality. A person gradually gains valuable life experience which has a formative influence on his/her behavioral patterns and moral judgments. To investigate teenagers' moral development, I studied hypothetic actions that a young man would take in case he faces moral dilemmas. During the given experiment, I have interviewed an 18-year-old American male student and changed his name to James. He comes from a full Christian family, lives in a suburb, and studies philosophy. James was offered to imagine himself facing two moral dilemmas. The first one is the well-known Heinz dilemma, with a dying woman's husband stealing the necessary drug due to the lack of money and the druggist's refusal to reduce the price. As with most moral dilemmas, this one forces a person to choose between greater and lesser evil. Thus, it is particularly hard for sensitive people to make a choice since they avoid any evil. James told me that he would do the same for the sake of a beloved woman's life, but probably call the police if he saw a man robbing a drugstore, since he would think that this theft is for personal benefit rather than for saving one's life. Two parts of James' response characterize him as a potentially loyal husband and a conscious citizen as well. Moreover, he claimed that a man should not be punished for his violation since his actions would save a human's life, though be a material damage to the druggist. James added that the stealer has not got enough money for the drug, thus, would not get them for a good lawyer who could save him from the imprisonment verdict. The young man said that if the justice existed in this universe, it would be the druggist who was punished for the woman's death, but in the real world, he would get a punishment according to the laws of karma rather than the Constitution. The following James' answer confirming a stricter verdict for the druggist's refusal to provide an important person with a remedy has finally persuaded me about his almost adult state of mind. The second moral dilemma is also a borrowed one. It offers to consider the possible options for a person who witnessed his boyfriend's spouse-to-be having an affair with the best man on the wedding day. In fact, there are only two options: to tell your best friend the truth or to remain silent. I was surprised by James giving almost instant response, claiming that he would open his friend's eyes. Considering the consequences, he said that such a decision would ruin the wedding day but save friends' lives in the sense of time. James explains his choice with a natural hatred for betrayers, adding that he would not let his friend waste his whole life on the unreliable person. Many of us would choose to save our breath in order not to become the only guilty for everybody relating to the wedding day. But James has shown that he would do everything, including self-sacrifice, for his loved ones. James' responses seem to fit the person of an older age, thus, I believe he already has reached the post-conventional stage of moral development, which is characterized by a ready set of moral principles and cool-headed reasoning. A person who has developed her morals to this level holds the standards that they believe to be the basement of the society, even if the reality is different. However, one could easily be confused with James's answers and claim that he expressed such thoughts in order to be seen as good by the others, but I feel very strongly that his moral reasoning is somewhere between the fifth and the sixth substages coined by Kohlberg. To be honest, it is surprising for his age, since the mentioned level of moral development is more typical for adults. James shows the willingness to perform genuine moral actions that appear in case the choice of individual decisions is made for creating good rather than matching his/her desires. The young man is ready to take a serious risk to save one or his feelings. I would say that James's behavioral pattern illustrates the male model of Gilligan's care perspective, which is marked by the concern for the surrounding people independently from the generally accepted principles. To sum up, I was astonished by James's results, especially after assessing his responses according to the Kohlberg's framework, which is useful to draw a line between a teen and a grown state of mind. It was even more unusual to hear the reasoning of his decisions that was logically and coherently justified. However, there was a moment when I began to realize that James's answers were nothing but an attempt to show his high and noble moral standards. The instant response to the second dilemma, which is considered to be a harder one, persuaded me about the authenticity of his principles that are probably based on his life experience. I am totally satisfied with the results of the given experiment and hope that James's behavior will not only be a reflection of his morals but bring him personal benefit as well.